See, probably you would have come across in stored procedures or triggers where you write a block of code, okay, between the opening and closing of do and end to process the specific scripts or the logic. Similarly, in the Ruby also we have some set of statements. Okay, so I was just talking about this each do in the previous class about how to put the concept of code blocks. In fact, I have not explained much information about it. Maybe here you can see what it is. Okay, a code block can have parameters which are listed at the beginning of a block. Okay, so they can have n number of parameters which can be defined between the opening and closing of the standing bars. A code block may be passed to a method call following the actual parameters of the call. So by this time, you know what is the concept of formal parameters and the actual parameters. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you what is this actual parameters and formal parameters. So let us directly jump into what is called as an iterator. This code block and iterators are used in combinations. Okay, so what is an iterator? Iterator is a looping construct in Ruby. So like you have a for statement, you have while statement, you have do while statement, okay, you have nested if else statements. So there are a lot many looping constructs are available in the typical programming languages. That looping construct is called as an iterator in the Ruby. So what are iterators? Iterators are nothing but the methods supported to have the looping construct in the collections. Okay, so these iterators are represented in terms of objects which stores a group of data members which are called as collections. So in Ruby, arrays and hashes can be termed as collections. So arrays also contain some kind of objects, that means the values, and hashes also contains some objects. What is that object called? It is called as a key and value pair. Every object in the hashes will contain key and value pair. That key and value pair combination is called as hashes. So arrays also contain some set of numbers or maybe characters or maybe alphanumeric characters, etc. Okay, so this objects are collectively called as collections. So this is nothing to do with Java collection. The concept of Java collections are different. The concept of Ruby collections are different. So iterators returns all the elements of the collection. So collection here, it can be for arrays or it can be hashes, or you can use a combinations of arrays and hashes. So there are different kinds of iterators that are available in the Ruby. The first one is Ruby each iterator. The first iterator is called as Ruby each iterator. So each is the one of the kind of iterator. So which returns all the elements of an array or hash. So as I told you before, you can implement this iterator exclusively for arrays, or you can use it for hashes, or it can be used in the combination. Okay, the first iterator that we are going to discuss is each iterator. So as usual, so this is the shebang line which can be used for executing the Ruby programs. Okay, now we have an array element. Okay, ARY is the array element, and you have got some values. Okay, the values is 1 2 3 4 and 5. This is as good as understanding ARY of 0 is 1, AR of y 1 is 2, AR of y is 2 is 3, AR of y 3 is 4, and ARY of 4 is 5. Okay, this is just like a array elements. Okay, so then array element ARY dot each do I. So each is a iterator. That means every time when you are just trying to iterate one element after the another element, okay, we are going to use what is called as each operator. Okay, each iterator. ARY dot each do. Then you have the standing bus. Okay. So this I is called as a object. Okay, I is called as an object which is placed in between the opening and closing of this standing bars. So I call this as standing bars. So this is called as a code block. Okay, so I is called as the object. Okay, and this opening and closing is called as code block. So we are going to put the sequence of statements between the opening and closing of standing bars. So what happens here? So every time when you when the line of executions comes to this second line, arby dot each do of I, so I takes a value of 0 1 2 3 and 4. So every time it gets iterated, at the first instance when it gets executed, the value of I will be 1. Again it loops. Okay, so it will be 2 in the next loop. In the next loop again it will be 3 4 and 5 respectively. So instead of writing a big statement like for I is equal to 0, I less than n and all those things, so you can write a simple statement by using the each. Okay, so that's the reason I said that iterator is a looping construct. So iterator returns all the elements of the collections which are executed one after the another. When it puts, as you know, it is going to display the value of 5. So first time when it gets iterated, the value of 5 will be 1. So it is going to print the value as I is equal to 1. Next time again it iterates, so the value of 5 will be 2, 3, 4 and 5 respectively, and this is the kind of output that you are seeing here. Okay, so output will be respectively 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, so this is the first example. Okay, this is for the Ruby each iterator. So there are many iterators are available. The first one which I discussed is each iterator. The second is Ruby collect iterator. The collect iterator will also return all the elements of the collection. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? Whatever the each operator each iterator does, the collect iterator also does the same thing, but it is not mandatory to put within the block. Okay, so that is a difference. So next is the collect method did not always be associated with the block, because it's not mandatory here. If you want to put block, you can put block. If you don't want to put block, still it works. So, but whereas for each iterator, the putting the block is mandatory. So here what happens in the each iterator? So one element by one element, so it keeps reading and gets executed. But here at a time it reads all the elements and it executes. So that is a difference. The collect method returns the entire collection. That means all the elements which are present in the array. So all those elements will be executed at one shot. So this iterator can be applied to both arrays and as well as hashes. Okay. So we have A, so which will have some elements 1 to 5. And you have one more element, b is equal to array of new. That means I am going to create the instances. Okay, you know the new is a word which is used for creating the instances. So then you take a variable b is equal to a dot collect. So a dot collect. Okay, so what happens? It will read all the elements, that is from 1 to 5. Okay, and at one shot it is going to execute all the elements of an array variable. So it is just like your get C and gets. If you are using get C, you are going to read one character at a time. So if you are using gets, so you are going to read all the characters at a time. So that is a difference. Okay, so you can just think like each iterator is like get C. Okay, and collect is like get S. So that is a difference. This is one example. Okay, so as I specified, that correct method need not be always associated with the block. You can use with the block and you can use without block also. Okay, so this is the first example for collect iterator. The second example is, again you have array element a is equal to 1 to 5. Okay, then we have b is equal to a dot collect. Okay, so x, now you have a variable or say object x between the opening and closing of the standing bar. So that means x can take the value of 1 2 3 4 and 5. Now on x I want to do some operations. Okay, I want to do some operation. So I want to multiply say 10 with each value of the x. Okay, but if you want to do it, you have to write 2-3 statements in the typical C or Java program, right? But here it is not required. So it reads all the characters at a time, and whatever the operations that I wanted to do it, so I can use it. But one thing that you have to note it here is you cannot have this operations 10 into x directly in the first example. Okay, so I'm showing you two examples where you can use with block and without block. Okay, so the first example was with respect to not using the block, and the second example is with respect to using the block. Now, here you have b is equal to a dot collect. You have opening the flower braces, and you have x. Okay, so this is the object which will be placed in the opening and closing of the standing bus, and I'm doing some kind of operations on the x. So what is that operation that I'm doing? So I am multiplying each value of the x, each value for the x with a 10. So you can see, so when you are going to display the output of this, say B, the output will be 10, 20, 30, 48, 50. Okay. The output will be 10, 20. So I can do whatever the operations that I want to do it. Suppose say you write some x square. Okay, so if you are going to write x square, it will be say 1, 4, 9, 16, 25 like that. Okay, so this is the second version of using the collect iterator. Next, the third method of an iterator. What is this? This can be used with no iteration variable. Okay, Ruby times iterator can be used with no iteration variable. So you need not use exclusively any kind of a variable, okay, to do the iterations. But we can add an iteration variable using the vertical bars around the identifier. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? That means if you want to calculate something, okay, say in the previous classes, you remember that I said one thing, if you are using a for each, and in the braces if you write 0, 3 dash and 9, that means all the elements are printed in the sequential order from 0 to 9. Okay, similar to that we have what is called as a times iterator, okay, where you need not use the exclusive iteration variable. So I want to print, okay, I want to print say some 10 values. Okay, it can be anything. So here I have given 10 dot times, and you have a iteration variable here, and print hash of I. Okay, so I told you in the previous class why we use hash. Okay, so it is used to represent like an independent literal for executing the that specific line of code. Now you know the subscript always starts from 0. It always starts from 0. So now I have given 10 dot times. Okay, that means I want to print the value till 10. So that is the meaning of this statement. So by default, always the value of I will be 0 in this case. Okay, so since I have to print 10 values, okay, it will take 0 to 9. Suppose if I replace 10 with say some 20, so it is going to display the values from 0 to 19. Suppose if I replace this 10 with say some 3, okay, so the output will be 0, 1 and 2. So that is how the things happen. Suppose I want to print anything in a sequential order, okay, I can use what is called as the times iterator. Okay, so we have seen what is the each iterator, we have seen what is the collect iterator, we have seen what is the times iterator. Okay, now in this version, if I want to print something say from 20 to 35, there is no option for it. Okay, so whatever the 10 that you are saying, it is always the upper limit. That means previous numbers will be executed. Suppose if I am writing 30 in the place of 10, so it will be 0 to 29. If I replace 10 with say 7, so it will be 0 to 6. Suppose say for example, I give 6 here in the place of 10. Let us assume it is 6. So what happens if I am writing this, the same value? So it is going to print something like this. 6 dot times, okay, and it is going to print the value of I. So the I takes the value 0 to 5. So this is how it is being interpreted with respect to the times iterator. Okay, but you have to write hash is used to represent that each value that you are going to print is independent literal. Okay, so this is one example. Next is we have something called as up to iterator. Okay, so we have something called as Ruby up to iterator. Okay, so there are different versions. I will tell what it is. Ruby up to iterator. This is up to iterator. Okay, so as usual we have the shebang line. Okay, now 3 is the starting value and 5 is the ending value. Okay, 3 dot up to 5. Okay, that means I am just trying to print the value from 3 to 5. Okay, the starting limit, starting value dot method name, that is up to, then you have the ending value. Okay, so starting value dot method, then ending value. Do, then you have x is an object which is placed between the opening and closing of a standing bar, and I am printing put x, that means the value of x, and end. So what happens here, the value of x takes initially 3, whatever the value that you are going to put, it is going to take 3. Okay, then it keeps looping till whatever the value that you are going to have it here. Okay, suppose say I am going to write here say some 19, assume 19, so I write say 25. Okay, so if I am writing this, the output will be say 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and say 25. Okay, so this version, this kind of facility is not available in the times iterator. So times iterator can only have the ending value. So all previous values will be displayed. But whereas in up to iterator, you can take the starting value and you can take the ending value. So there is a flexibility in this. Okay, so 19 to 25 means it is going to print from 19 to 25. Suppose if the same thing, if I am taking say 3 to 9. Okay, I'm taking from 3 to 9. So the output of this code would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so this is the output of this program. This is one version. Okay, second thing. Okay, the second thing. Hello, any clarifications?
Sir, who can you take 9, sir?
Huh?
Up to 9, no, sir. 9 won't be taken, no, sir.
It will be taken. See, in the earlier versions, if I give, see, in this case, yeah, 6. Okay, if you are taking this, it is going to print 6 values. Okay, so if you are taking this, it is going to take till 9. Okay, so this is one version. The second version is the same example, 0 up to 3, then you have x, then you are going to display the value of this x. This is other versions of putting it. Okay, it is 0, 1, 2, and 3. This is one thing. This is other way of putting the information with respect to the up to iterator. So next is you have down to. Okay, so here in the up to, so you are going to put it in the increasing order. Okay, from which starting value to the ending value. So it keeps on increasing it. Okay, but in this case it is downside. Okay, so that means it is going to decrease the value. So it is just a replacement of the starting value and the ending value. Now you have 5 dot down to 3. Okay, and do you have j as an object where j can take the initial value of say 5. So you can see the output here. It is starting value will be 5 till 3 it is going to take. So 5, 4 and say 3. So this will be in the increasing order, other things, but you have a down to method, okay, which will be in the decreasing order. Okay, so 5 is the I mean to say upper limit. Okay, 3 is the lower limit. So it is going to print it in the reverse order. But whereas in other cases it is going to print in the increasing order. Suppose if I write say 10 to 3. Okay, so the output will be what? Will be 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 and say 3. Okay, so it is going to display in the reverse order. Okay, so these are the some of the iterators which are very oftenly used if you are just trying to build the application. Okay, so you can just take the question. Okay, so explain or demonstrate any 4 Ruby iterator methods. Okay, this notes already have sent to you. Okay, so you can just check it out. Just make a keyword. The first one is each iterator. First one is the each iterator. Second is the collect iterator. Collect iterator. The third is times iterator. Times iterator. Fourth is up to iterator. And fifth is down to iterator. Okay. So in the examination, if this is being asked, you have to write the separate program for each of this. Just write one line definition about what is this, the meaning of the iterator. I mean to say the method. Then you can give an example with an output. Cool. So these things are mandatory when you are writing the answer for this question. Okay. So any clarifications in this? Anybody?
No, sir.
Very important question it is. Okay. So next we will talk about some pattern matching concepts, okay, which is very, very important again. Okay. So yeah, the first thing is substitution operator. Okay, we are using the substitution operator. So in the substitution operator, we are just trying to substitute one word with another word, maybe some text with some other text. Okay, in terms of the occurrences that are happening in the program. Okay. Okay. The code is like this. You have a variable text and have some text in it. Okay. So rails or strongs. Okay. Now I want to change I want to change the word rails, the small word rails with the capital letter, say rails. So where the replacement for that occurrences is, say, the capital R. So I am going to substitute that small rail, that small r with a capital R. Okay. So the text dot sub. So sub is the method which are used to replace the small rail. The first parameter, there are two parameters where this substitute will take. The first parameter is the existing word and the second parameter is the replacement word. Okay. So the substitution takes two parameters. Then this part of code will actually convert, okay, or say, sorry, replace the word small rails with the capital rails. Okay, it is going to change only the first occurrences. Okay, then puts. So then again you have a hash, then you have a text variable. Okay, so again, because see, this is a literal. Why do we write a literal? Because so there is some changes which are happening to a text. Okay, so whatever changes that has happened, so that changes needs to be represented in the literal. So we are going to represent this literal with an hash. So output will be rails or strongs. Okay, I think this is extra thing what you are seeing. Okay, so this is the substitution operator. Okay, so here what is happening here is, suppose I have a text rails or strongs. Again, you have rails. Maybe you have some n number of paragraphs. One paragraph. In one paragraph, the word rails would have been repeated n number of times. Assume it is repeated, say, 5 times in the entire paragraph, and the paragraph contains, say, some 5 lines. And that word, the small rails, okay, so you have small case rails and you have capital letters rails. Okay, now here I am substituting the small rails with the capital rails. Now this word rails would have appeared n number of times in the paragraph, assume 5 times. If you are writing this part of the code, okay, it is going to execute it only once. That means what? Out of 5 rails, the first line you have small rails, the second line you have, third line you have, fourth line you have, and say you have fifth line. But if you are using this part of code, only sub, it is going to replace the small case rails with the capital case rails only once in the first line. Okay, so in all other lines it is not going to change. Okay, only for the first occurrence. Once it finds that word rails, okay, in the first line, it will change to rails. But we have in second line, third line, fourth line, and fifth line, you have the word rails, but it is not going to change. Okay, that means the scope is only once. Once it finds only the first occurrence, it is going to replace that small case rails to the capital case rails. Okay, so it is not going to get reflected in n number of occurrences. Only for the first occurrence only it is going to change. Okay, but here if you see, the word rails is repeated twice. Okay, the word rails is repeated twice. So even if you are having this rails here also, okay, again let me just write it. Okay, so in this case the output will be like this. Okay, see here there are two rails, there are two words, rails 1 first occurrence, rails 2 second occurrence. but it is going to replace only once, but the second occurrence remains as it is. Okay, but whereas in this example, if you are using G sub, global substitution, it is going to replace all the occurrences of the world. So this is the output. You can see the difference. So in this example, if you are using sub, it is going to replace for only for the first occurrence. Okay, but in this here, in this case, only the first occurrence is replaced, but second occurrence is remains as it is. It has not changed because I have used sub. If you are using G sub, okay, so all the occurrences, so here you have two occurrences of the word rails, so all the occurrences in the 5 lines, all the, if the rail word is there in all the 5 lines, so in all the 5 lines the small case rails will be converted into the capital letter rails. So that is the difference between sub and G sub. Sub is only local and G means global. So in the entire paragraph, okay, it is going to mark for all the wordings, that is rails for all occurrences. Okay, so that is the difference. Okay, this is the substitution operator. Please make a note. The substitution operators can be made locally or as well as globally. So if you are using a sub, only sub, it is going to change only for the first occurrence. Substitution will happen for first occurrence. Okay, if you are using sub, it is going to substitute for only the first occurrence. If you are using G sub, it is going to match for all the occurrences. It is going to substitute for all the occurrences. So that is the difference between using the sub and G sub. Okay. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The first question was explain any 4 methods of iterator. Okay, with the example. Second thing is demonstrate the concept of substitution in Ruby. That is the second question. Okay. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are more patterns actually. I don't have much methods here to showcase. Okay, so today I'm just going to give a brief information about pattern matching. I'm not going in detail today. Tomorrow we will just see about more details about various pattern matching things. Okay, so this is not something very new. Because this already you know. So if you take any pattern matching concepts in any of the programming languages, more or less it is the same. Okay, only the way of representation will be little bit different. Otherwise, by and large, it is same. So you know the patterns are delimited by slashes. Okay, and this specific part equal to and the symbol tilde symbol we call it. So which is called as a pattern matching operations. Okay, so here you have a line 1 which is a variable which contains some text that cats are smarter than say dogs. Okay, this is the some text, the value of the variable, say line 1. It is containing some text. Now I'm just trying to match the pattern. What is that pattern? This is the pattern. Okay, so I want to find it out whether this specific pattern. So pattern means what? It is case sensitive. It is as it is. So I cannot give something like this. So this is not a pattern. Okay, this might be a pattern, but this kind of pattern is not available in a text called cats are smarter than dogs. So if I'm giving this kind of a pattern, then the output will be like the line does not contain this pattern. Okay, so I'm just trying to find it out whether this specific pattern is there in a text. So line 1 contains the text, and this is a pattern matching operation, and the patterns are delimited by the front slashes. So this pattern, say cats, is matched against the text of the variable, say line 1. So it contains cats is smarter than dogs. It can be there in the any place. I mean to say, it can be at the beginning of the sentence, it can be in the middle of the sentence, or it can be at the end of the sentence. You know, there are different categories and kinds of doing the pattern matching. So in the way that we wanted to match the pattern, so we use various options to do it. Here I am not using any option. It's a very simple demonstrations about pattern matching with respect to the line 1. Okay, so here I am just trying to match whether that word cats as it is available in the line 1. So if it is available, it is going to display that line 1 contains cats. Otherwise, the line 1 does not contain that specific word. So output in this case would be line 1 contain cats. Okay, this is the first example. Next is the same example. It is not case sensitive. Okay, you can see here the C is capital here. So here also I have given C as capital. Exactly it has to match. Only if it matches, the output will be true, or else it will be false. But here in this case, what is happening? The first letter of the word cats is in small case. The first character of the word cats is in small. Okay, but here in the line 1, it contains the capital letter of, say, cats. So that means there is a mismatch. It is not, the pattern is not exactly matching with whatever that is there in the line 1. So else the output will be what it does not contain. Okay, so this is the output. So output you can see does not contain. So since in the first example it was exactly matching this pattern, and this thing it was matching, so the output was the line 1 contains cats. The second example, this is in small case letters, and this is in uppercase. Okay, so since there is a mismatch in the cases, so it is going to display what does not contain. But how do we make it? That it is true? So we are going to use a modifier called as I. The third example. In the same example, if you just write I here, okay, the output will be what? If you are using I, here you can see cats, C is in capital letter, but I am trying to find out the pattern. What is that pattern? I am writing a C. Okay, C is in small case letters. Here also in the second example, C was a small case letter, but output was it does not contain. Okay, it is going to return the false information. Okay, the pattern is not matching. But if I want to make the pattern matching irrespective of case sensitiveness, okay, then I will use what is called as the I modifier. So if I'm using I modifier, the output will be line 1 contains cats. Okay, so here I have showed three different examples with respect to a pattern matching. One exactly matching, second is not exactly matching, okay, and the third is by using an modifier, how do you make the pattern matching equal irrespective of case sensitiveness, okay. So that is the thing. Okay, this is one a simple demonstration of understanding the concept of pattern. Now, another way, another method. Okay, so suppose you have a names is equal to Alice, okay, comma Bob, comma Eve. Okay, so I'm going to split that entire text into a single characters. Okay, so maybe I will take this in detail by having more number of methods and different kinds of the pattern matching techniques. So this I will be discussing in the next class. Okay, as of now, you can just think that these are the three different varieties which can be used for pattern matching. So I just wanted to make a note of only these two lines. So patterns are delimited by slashes and this specific symbol is the pattern matching operation. Okay, so just make a note of this. Okay, so we'll discuss more about this in the next class. Okay, so there will be definitely a questions on pattern matching. So answer your attendance. Asta.
Present, sir.
Oh, finally you are here today. Hmm. Abhinav.
Present, sir.
Aishwarya.
Present, sir.
Amrish. Anu.
Present, sir.
Arbaz.
Yes, sir.
Anjan.
Present, sir.
Ashok.
Yes, sir.
Benita.
Present, sir.
Bhargavi. Bhavisha.
Present, sir.
Chaitra.
Present, sir.
Devamalia.
Present, sir.
Diksha.
Present, sir.
Deepika 1.
Present, sir.
Deepika 2.
Present, sir.
Murali Krishna.
Present, sir.
Gangubai.
Present, sir.
Guria. Harshit.
Present, sir.
Junjar.
Present, sir.
Kavya.
Present, sir.
Kishore. Lata.
Yes, sir.
Manisha.
Present, sir.
Manjunath.
Yes, sir.
Nayana.
Present, sir.
Nilanjan.
Yes, sir.
Nishant.
Present, sir.
Pavitra. Maithili.
Present, sir.
Priyanka.
Present, sir.
Pavan.
Present, sir.
Akash.
Present, sir.
Rajeshwari.
Present, sir.
Rakesha.
Present, sir.
Ramya.
Present, sir.
Rashmi.
Present, sir.
Sir, Pavitra present, sir.
Okay.
Sir, Bhargavi present.
Sir, Kishore present, sir.
When I called you, you didn't tell that. Now you are telling. Now you have joined, Kishore.
No, sir.
Then why you didn't answer? See, when I am calling the attendance, if you are giving the answer, then I will put the attendance. Otherwise, no. I am telling you. Rashmi.
Sir, I told. Present, sir.
Okay. Ravi Shankar.
Yes, sir.
Rizwan.
Present, sir.
Vishal.
Present, sir.
Savita.
Yes, sir.
Savita is there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shruti.
Present, sir.
Sneha.
Yes, sir.
Spurti.
Present. Present, sir.
Spurti.
Present, sir.
Srinidhi.
Present, sir.
Srinivas.
Present, sir.
Sunil.
Present, sir.
Vaishnavi.
Present, sir.
Vinny.
Present, sir.
Guria is not there, right? Guria, I didn't see the attendance. Here. Benita. I didn't see. Bhargavi. Okay.
Present, sir.
So we'll discuss. Who is this? Who is this? Bhargavi is there? You didn't tell me the attendance.
I told no, sir.
What did I do? Bhargav is not there?
Network issue, sir.
Network issue. She is there,
Yes, sir. I'm there, sir.
Okay, okay. Bhargavi, okay. Okay, we'll take up more concepts in the next class. Okay.